Hey, Jasen Rice here, Lotpop, doing another LotParty quick tip. This is just for the used car group. I'm going to do something different. You don't see me. I'm going to walk you through how to back into an appraisal retail. You guys might have seen this before. I don't know, but I want to walk you through some of the issues, concerns that I see a lot of dealers when they're attacking an inventory or appraisal, both in purchases or trades. So this same attack, I think you should appraise a car at the curb, no different at the lane, and vice versa. The car should stand on its own from your deal. And a couple things that I want you guys to think about, prior to looking at the market data, we used to go look at wholesale, even guys still do look at book values. Obviously we need to concern ourselves with book for bank calls and stuff like that. I get that. I'm going to give you an approach though on the retail in my eyes. If I'm appraising a car to retail it, it's a retail exit strategy. So think of it for that, and not so much as your subprime book out cars. So this attack can be worked multiple ways, but this is going to be mostly for those retail units. The biggest struggle I see with guys is continuously feed the beast, buy the cars for the right kind of money without stretching. So what I wanted to do is come up with a true exit strategy. And I would go back to the example before looking at market, we would look at wholesale book values and we would back ourselves into that going, okay, I'm going to bid this car here because if I have to wholesale it, I should be getting this for it. So on the retail end, I see a lot of dealers, and I'm just using a sample dealer here. I'm just going to do a fake appraisal. I'll do my truck or something, but I see a lot of dealers going into appraisals more in a hope mode than a true exit strategy. What's up, Doug? So let's talk about that. So as I used to go into looking at wholesale values of a car when I'm bidding on it, I'd say, okay, if I buy this car, I'll wholesale it here. Let's go into the retail perspective though. If we're going to attack every appraisal, and I'm going to appraise a car as a retail unit until it tells me otherwise, that it doesn't make sense anymore. So what I mean by dealers going into the appraisal in a hope mode, I see a lot of dealerships with $2,000, $3,000, $1,500 worth of profit. That's one. As you go in and hoping to make a couple grand on the car, that's going to be your biggest challenge because that's going to be great. Again, kind of hopeful. Two is a lot of times I see reconditioning as a flat amount. I get it. If we have maybe somebody not sure with recon dollars, you take your average, put it in. I know some dealers say, hey, we just put a flat fee on every appraisal across the board. Some cost me more, some cost me less, but I break even in the long run. Okay, I get that. But there are things that you can take advantage of, like clicking and itemizing repairs. So each appraisal, I think, should get its own recon evaluation of what it will cost. The other thing I do think, even if you're doing a blanket recall number, and you're doing it both in the shop on the appraisal, but also in the shops, because some dealers do that, I would make it, I would still make my appraiser figure out, I want to make sure they're looking at the car, right, and know that, hey, it's going to need this, this, and this, because that's, again, how they're going to need to bid the car. But make sure you write retail wholesale. Make sure you correct purchases as purchases. Make sure you finalize every appraisal. Saving it will not store it. Saving it will not help you track how good or bad you're doing. You want to finalize every appraisal. So that being said, make sure, I'm going to assume recon's right. Let's just say 1,000, and I'm going to show you how to back in an appraisal. So I'm going to put in, like, let's say my truck. You guys can see whatever drives, like 102,000 miles on a 2008 F350. I'm going to walk you through this. This is kind of a maybe a unique car. I might back out and do something else. I haven't played around with this. I just kind of jumped into it. Lariat. All right, and this might be too unique. You know what? Matter of fact, let's do something more generic. Let's say 2000 and say 16. Let's see, that's 4 years old, 30, 40, 60. Let's say it's got 60,000 miles on it. And let's say it's something like an Escape. Everybody's got some of those. Let's make it an XLT or an SE, I'm sorry. All right, let's hit go. All right, something more generic than mine. two unique cars. 54-day supply. That looks good. This dealer's got some information not there. Let's look at the market. Okay, there's plenty out there in the market. You want to make sure you narrow it down by engine. That's going to matter to your day supply. You want to make sure that. Again, look at all the books that you need to look at. If you want to look at MMR, Black Book, NADA, do that, understand it. Again, I'm just going to show you a retail approach. This isn't, in here, I want you to go look at, do what I'm going to show you to do into some of your appraisals that you thought you missed and see where you stand. Okay. If it is a purchase, again, it's cool stuff like sources you can put in here. You can put some notes. I would say note every appraisal. One of the things we track is what percentage of our appraisals actually have comments on them. And our good performing stores, 100%. That's the goal, 100%. They don't care if it's a good car. Put in nice car, clean, doesn't need any work. Put in, needs new tires, windshield's cracked. I would also do photos, but at least do notes. That to me, again, is showing you're paying attention to what you're looking at. And it gives you a point of reference if the customer has to come back and you're not there and somebody else has to look at it. Always have notes. All right. So with that being said, the best way to go into an appraisal is think of a true exit strategy. So I'll ask a dealer is, all right, what's this car? If it's, let's act like this car's 60 days old. It's an aged car. I would ask a dealer on an age car, what's the minimum amount of profit you'd be willing to make? You guys think about that, but my hopes that I try to hear, they'll pull out as well, if I can at least break even on the car, when it's aged. Your mindset might be whatever, but that's typically what we might hear. So I say, okay, well then 60 days from now, if you could break even, I'm sure the car will depreciate a bit. So I'm going to put $500 in profit in this vehicle. Again, this isn't what I want you to make. I'm going to walk you through how I want you to attack this car. But $500 profit, that means between now and 60 days, it might depreciate $500. Now, if it's a 40 grand car, you might have to put in 800 or 1,000 because you got to think, hey, if the market moves 2% in the next 60 days, which it probably will, that's at least $800. So you might have to pad it a little bit more for that depreciation. But if I can break even at day 60, I'm going to pad it 500 on a car like this, and I'll probably break even in 60 days, or worst case scenario, walk away with a little money. So then what I would do is lock in that 500, but then ask them at 60 days, what is the percentage of market you believe this car would sell? 88%? Would you agree at day 60, putting at 88%, it's got a high chance of selling? Yes. Boom, it kicks out 11.5. Okay. You can go look at the V rankings. It says 2 of 4, asking price of 13.3. I feel pretty solid there. Now, to back that up, retails at 15.2, whatever book, whatever you're used to wanting to look at on a car. What I say up here, it was a 2.0 four-wheel drive, 2.0. I said it's an SE, right? Whatever you feel comfortable with, you can start there, but also try this 500 at 90% used to be the number. Now I feel more 88% more accurate. Now, what I'm doing here, what I've always given example to dealerships is if you're going to the curb or to the auction, a lot of times you look at a run list and you come up with your put your hand down number. That means when I go to the lane, I go, hey, I'm going to bail on this car at 12 grand. If it goes higher than 12, or maybe I'll go 12.1 just to be, I'm going to put my hand down. You come up with your put your hand down number at the lane. This number here, whatever we come up with, is going to be your put your hand down, number working a deal. Doesn't mean this is your first pencil. Just like at the lane, the auctioneer might jump you up to 15 and then brings it down to 10 and then bumps you up to 10.5 and 11, 11.5, right? And if your put your hand down number is 12, you might be able to get it for 11.9, or you might stretch and go to 12.2, but at least you know where you want to stop. On the appraisals, same thing. I'm going to come up with my put my hand down number, and I might pencil the deal $1,000 or $1,500 less. I just don't want I'll let the customer walk past this number. Okay, so I'm going to play around. 588% kicked out 11.5. I'm going to go ahead and round this down. You know how I am, flat numbers. So I'm going to lock in 11.5. Now, once you come up with that number, lock it in and go, okay, I'm not going to start this at 88%. So where would I start a car like this? good day supply or average day supply. Maybe I'm a Ford store. I might start at 100%. And at that point in time, it's a $2,400 deal. And I'll ask the dealers, pretty good profit, right? There's your $2,000, right? I come in at $2,000. So there's my $2,000. And 23.96. I see you guys all jumping on here. Now I'm going to start backing it up. That's 14,896 myself. I'm going to go to 15,000 day one. I'm going to pad it a bit, and now I might start out there. Now 2-3 weeks goes by, or 14, 21 days depending. I'm going to go to 14.5. What does that put me at $2,000? I'm at 97% at day whatever, 21. Day 15, day 21, and then I'm going to go to 14,000. I'm going to walk myself through this. It's $1,500 still at 94%, 4 of 20, and then I'm going to go to 13.5, and it's at 91. And again, worst case scenario, if I go to 88, I'm making 5. What if I was number 1 V ranking, making $300? So I've done this example, and I might have pulled up somebody's appraisal, and I didn't want to pull up anybody's specific store appraisals or call them out. So I'm just kind of making this one up here. But I might have gone into somebody's system, and they always tell me, hey, I don't lose any deals on trades, right? I'm sure y'all said that. But this car, I've been plenty of times, they might have hit it at 10.5 or 11. And I'm like, well, let's do this. But again, they're going in at $2,000 profit. We go in, I'd take their bid. I would go over here and I'd put 500 and I'd lock the 500 in, and then I'd put in my 88% and it spits out 11.5. They're at 10.5. Now all of a sudden I'm at 11.5, and it's $1,000 more than they thought of. And I said, I don't want you to make only $500. But what the cool thing is, this is a true retail exit strategy. If I end up getting this car, I get scared of it, or maybe it costs me $2,000 in recon all of a sudden. Okay, well, now I know, and now I'm going to go ahead and put this car at 95% and 90 and 95% and get off of it fast. And I'm padded. I padded myself 500 a profit. Now it's going to cost me an extra $1,000 in recon, maybe that extra 500. And I go, damn, I'm scared of this car now. Well, then put it on that exit strategy you came up with. So it's a more true exit strategy instead of a hope mode. Instead of going in at every car with $2,000 a profit, or a lot of times you're going at $2,000 and we hit it soft at 10 and we finalize the appraisal, then we go TO the deal and we go back and forth and back and forth, and we might end up at 11.5, and then, but we never go back in here and finalize the deal. I say come up with put your hand down number, finalize it. Then there's no save a deal. Every appraisal I've done, I've put my hand down number. I'll let my customer walk at this number. Now, if I've got another 100 or 2 in my back pocket when I TO, fine. But if not, there's my number. I'll let the customer walk if they need more than this. That's it. So with that, I don't have a bunch of TOs and save a deals that I got to do. I might pencil this deal at 10. Once you get a feel for the customer, well, they've done a lot of research, or no, they just popped in. And I got a good salesman that I know can work the customer, not the desk. I might start at 10, go to 10.5, go to 11. The salesman's coming back, beat me up, say I just can't. And I go in for the TO, and the customer says, hey, if you get to 11.3 or 11.5, I'll do the deal. And I got 11.5 in my back pocket, and I say, hey, if I do 11.5, we can wrap this up. They say, yeah. I stuck my hand out and shake their hands, because I know I don't have to go, well, hold on, let me go check, go back into the system, put 11.5 in, and then go back to the customer again, going, okay, I'll do the deal. You got your number, you're solid, you got a good retail exit strategy. If you're afraid of it, put it at this number day one, get off of it, instead of going in with bad recon numbers and bad hope mode of $2 or $3 profit in every vehicle. So if this makes sense, if you need a little bit more hands-on, or you want to maybe do a meeting call and have me pop up a couple appraisals and walk you through a couple more of these, just message me on Facebook. I'll send you my calendar. We'll set some time aside. If you need anything, I want a free inventory valuation, kind of some of this stuff, you can go to lotpop.com. But hopefully this is helpful. Put some comments in there. Let me know what you think. I'm not going to post this anywhere else. I'll just keep it on here. If this makes sense, if you've done it before, any challenges you have a great night.